Hello, everyone. My name is Robin Brown, and I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're going to be using several different stamp sets and punches and dies in order to create 4 different cards this morning. I'm thanking you for being here with me, and I appreciate your attendance. Thank you very much.
Oh, is this the hue of happiness thing?
This is, yes. Well, this is the Happiness Abounds stamp set.
Okay.
And
I just ordered this one. I thought it looked really nice.
Later, we will be using the Hues of Happiness DSP. I don't know. It's an amazing set. And so I tried to use something that I think a lot of people ordered. We're coming up on the end of celebration.
That's why I ordered when I did.
Yeah. They kind of are running out of early of a lot of the celebration items, so they added a few. And they're listed on the website. Yeah, they put that, and there's a promotion going on called Perfect Partners. It starts September 1st. And they took several bundles and rebundled them and made them special. So I'm not sure if the gnomes was one of them, but if you bought it at a bundle, you aren't going to get any additional benefit. They're just rebundling some that weren't bundled. If you go exploring and look for Perfect Partners promotion.
Yeah.
But I should have sent you an email. If I didn't, I will check and I will send it back out again. And it lists the bundles that they're promoting in that special deal. All righty. So we are going to start with this first card that uses the Happiness Abounds for the outside floral pictures. And it also uses it for the inside. Isn't that pretty inside?
Ooh. Melanie,
Happy Birthday is going to come from a little known set called Paradise Palms. But you could use any Happy Birthday on that. Or you can change it up to whatever you want. There's a retirement wishes in this. The Paradise Palms is about the only one that I know of that has a sentiment for retirement. Retirement wishes. Hope you find a little paradise wherever you may be. So I thought that was cute. And the Happiness Abounds is in a suite with the Hues of Happiness DSP, which we'll see later in the scheme of things. I do want to show you two things here. This card is the final version that I made. I made this card here first and thought it was way too busy. So, I mean, it's not that it's not nice, but it's busy. This I thought was too much and too much here. So that's why I changed it and left a blank panel here and put a little less busy DSP from the same. It's from the same DSP packet, but it's not as bold as the other one. So I liked it a little less. This is the way your kit will come, is with this piece of paper and this one. And of course, the flowers are not going to be stamped for you. So You could, if you have the peonies, but this, you could use the daffodils, you could use the peonies, you could use any other kind of flower that you have that's kind of big and bold, that coordinates with the petal pink paper that I included for you. Okay, so you're going to have a card base, and the card base is 5.5 by 11. Okay, and it's scored at 3.5 and 7. So you got 2 panels that are exactly the same size and this one that is a little bit larger. So on the one that is a little bit larger, I took this patterned paper, which I'm going to have to look the name of it up, and I will look it up as soon as I can here. So we're going to attach that to the back. And it's just got a little tiny little sliver of a margin. So I'll have to toy with that a little bit. All right. Then there will be nothing here. But we will put this comes from the same packet of paper. And you can decide which way it goes, up or down or sideways. I'm not sure. I don't think it matters really. It is different, but I don't think it matters which way you put it. And this one measures 3 3/8 by 5 3/8. That's going to go right on this front panel. Okay. And you'll see in your packet you have some strips. The strips are 1 1/4 by 6, and they're scored at 1.5, 3, and 4.5, and you have 4 of them. And what I am going to do is get out my Post-it note tape. Yes. And you kind of have to, you want to fold these in so that they meet exactly. If they don't meet exactly, take your bone folder out and adjust these and make them so they meet exactly evenly to the other pieces. That'll make a nice even so you would open this up, and this piece here, this we are going to glue right next to the fold, this fold right here. But we're going to set this on here first and get it spaced out properly. So you're going to match up this first core line with the fold. And because they're kind of interesting on the spacing, you'll want to lay them all out before you try to glue them down. Otherwise, you will end up with a possible misalignment and they won't all fit. So that one I'm going to put down here in approximately the same distance that I did up there. And I just take these down into place. And I have 2 more, and we're going to do the same thing with those. You want to score them in all the folds before you press them down. Now these 2, we're just going to kind of put here and see what kind of room we run into. If we don't have enough room, we're going to move the other ones around, but it looks like I've done all right. What you will want to try to accomplish is the same distance between each of the strips. So I don't think that's too bad. I think I like that. So now I'm going to go to this back side here, and I'm going to use Tombow glue, but you can use tear and tape, something a little bit stronger than regular tape runner, I believe. And I'm going to place that down so that that edge of that paper is right next to the fold. You can put it so that this score line runs right on top of that fold. All right. So that's what it'll look like here. And that is just a little too far onto the fold. I'm going to back it off just a hair. All right, good. And then this one here, I'm going to fold up like this and not disturb the tape so that it stays in the same place where I adjusted it in the first place, as far as height goes. Okay. Same with this one here. So you don't want this piece to go over the fold. You want it to go right up next to it, but not over. And you want to try to keep the edges of these all as equal as possible. Good. So far, so good. Last one. Push that up. So you'll see I have it just about the same top and bottom and just about the same distance in the middle. It's not critical, but it'll look nicer. Your end result will be much better. All right, and now we're going to take these and glue this other flap. So you're going to glue this one down so that it butts up against the fold but does not go over. So you're going to have to kind of hold it and look in there and then push it down. And to make it straight across the bottom. Tight. Fine. This is called a building block card if you want to Google any other samples of it. Make cute Christmas cards when you make them tree shaped or gift box shaped. And then, so you would close this so that those pop up in the middle. So you want to take your bone folder and score that fold after you have it in place there. And that makes the card base. Okay. So now for the photos or the pictures. You have one large one and one small one. The smaller one is going to be cut to fit the building blocks. Okay, so it measures 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. So you're going to cut this in half this way and in 4 pieces this way. So each one of these pieces would be 1 1/8 inch when you cut it this way. And when they get cut in half, half of 2 3/4 is 1 3/8. So it would be cut in half at 1 3/8. The front one does not get cut at all. But you do use the same stamps to stamp them. So that's what I'm going to try here. And I'm going to also try to follow my existing card sample. So this is the large flower from the Happiness Abounds set. And you kind of make the inside similar so that it's sort of like a reflection of the outside picture, but you can't make it exactly the same because the pieces just don't fit. I think I want a little bit juicier stamp. Better, that's better, much better. So we're going to stamp this large flower in any possible direction down here. And then I want 2 other flowers in the scheme of things. One here pretty much gets cut off by the label. So I may decide that I'm going to completely put that over in a little bit different place so that that particular happening doesn't happen. So I will try putting it a little bit over here. Maybe some of it will get cut off, but not as much. Let's see, we're going to go right there. And we'll go kind of, let's make this one pretty close and then I won't have to attach it too much. There. Okay. So now you're going to ask, well, those aren't connected, so how are you going to connect them? Well, the leaves kind of do the trick for that. And this double leaf here. You can kind of go around and see where a leaf would look good. You don't exactly want it to touch the flowers, but you want it to look like it's part of the flowers. So I think I'm going to come out of here with this one here. And it's sort of subjective, but you know, just kind of play around with it. I think I'd like this. I want this one to touch the flower so that I don't have my leaves disconnected. And then I think I'm going to put another set of those kind of, let me see. Nope, I'm not going to do that. I think this one here. It's going to come down. That will bump. I don't necessarily want to do that. So, you know, that's what I've been doing, is just playing with it. So I'm going to get this one in the general area of, and then show you what we'll do to connect them if they don't want to connect. And that one just doesn't want to fit in there for me. So we'll do one up here. one over here. They can go off the edge of the paper. Down here. That one is going to cause me great angst. I wish I wouldn't have put it up so high. Let me try taking my black marker. If you're going to connect these up, you're going to have to use your Stampin' Right marker instead of a blend here, because otherwise it will blend with the alcohol when you don't want it to. And I'm just kind of making this look somewhat connected. And that's probably on my marker set of ink. Of course, let's stick it in there and see what we get. Oh, that's good. I'm just going to continue this down, making it look like it belongs to this plant here. Pretty long stem on there, but it's connected. And then I am going to put that one off of this down. Make it go out here. So, and then of course I'll have to connect that one too, because I stamped it too far over. All right, so that's going to be the front piece. The inside piece is going to be laid out a little similarly. Get that off. Don't have smudgies. And stamp the big flower. And you can go with one or two smaller flowers either way. Or you could choose one of the other flowers from the stamp set. I believe this is like a, oh, I don't know what kind of flower this is. Maybe it is a poppy or a peony. I'm not sure. So, but there is a set of roses in the set. So that one down there. And before I totally forget, I'm going to put a leaf up here, a leaf over here. And these larger ones down here. And then I'm going to take this other flower and put two of them on there somehow. So here, because I can connect that up to this leaf. And then let's go in. Well, let's let this one go off the page a little. Won't hurt. Okay. And then we'll go back to connecting up our stems. And then the rest is just coloring. Make this one come down to this leaf stem here. And this one come down to this leaf stem here. All right. So that'll be our inside piece. All right. And then I used Stampin' Blends markers. I used Puddle Pink and Soft Succulent colors. You can use watercolor pencils. You can use the blends, the Stampin' Right markers with blends. But if you use blends or anything other than the alcohol markers, you're going to have to stamp with StazOn so that you don't get bleeding. Nobody wants their stuff to bleed and be bloody all over the place. So we're just doing the leaves in light and dark soft succulent. I'm going to do the smaller one first because that's the one we're going to cut. And make this stem that was on here come down. Alcohol markers do bleed through the paper, so if you have something exciting on the on your table that you don't want to ruin, make sure you put placemat or grid paper. I'm using a because it cuts down on the glare. I'm using a what do you call those? Cutting mats that you use to cut vegetables. And you can get them like at the dollar store or at Aldi's or just about anywhere, and they come like in a package of 3 of them, something like that. All right, I'm going to use light and dark Daffodil Delight for the center of these cards. So we're just going to go like so, a little color in the center, a little dark too, dark. Blend it in a little, get a little. And the last thing I used was petal pink. And I had a problem with my petal pink. I pulled the end off and the whole inside, this came out, the whole thing came out. So I think I'm going to be calling Stampin' Up on that one, see if I can get it replaced. If not, I'll just have to buy a new set of markers. If it hasn't all dried out by now. It probably has. I'm going around the, remember how we colored the peonies by going around the outside edge with the dark and then filling in with the light? I think that would be a good idea to do here as well. And the original designer of this particular card, she just touched color to these things. She didn't really color them in. I thought it looked much better all colored in, so that's how I chose to do it. Now, it's a big monster here. Once you get this, all the outlines done, then it's very easy to go in with your light marker and just fill it all in real quick. So the hard work is in the outlining here.
You have better spatial reasoning.
What's that?
You have better spatial reasoning.
Okay, so this is 2 3/4. Half of 2 3/4 is 1 3/8. So we're going to cut this right down the middle at 1 3/8. All right, and then we're going to cut each one of these because this measures 4 1/2. We're going to cut each one of these at 1 1/4 inches. Like so. I will. And she also used a different size of paper that didn't divide equally by 4. So I changed that up a little so that, well, I guess I screwed something up. I don't know what I screwed up. It's probably 1 1/8 inches. Yeah, I cut it wrong. I cut it wrong, as I'm telling you all about the designer who cut things wrong. I decided to cut it wrong too. It should have been 1 1/8 inches because 4/8 equals 1/2 inch. So let's get the other side right. So say as I do, not as I did. 1 1/4 inches. I mean 1 1/8 inches. That will be in your direction sheet if I ever get them made. I'm a little behind on getting things done. That's a much nicer version. Okay, so let's take our card base that we worked so hard on here, and we are going to lay out our pieces. This was not like so, it was like this one. And then this one will have leaves on it. I'm not answering my phone today. And this one down here is the bottom of that. All right, so then you just glue these in there. I wish I wouldn't have made that mistake. That's horrendous.
Happens to us all.
So I will have to, I don't know what I'll do. I'll probably make a new piece and glue these over the top. But that's how it goes on here. So make sure it's 1 1/8 inches, not 1 1/4 inches. My mathematics under pressure is not very good at this point. Just the leaves up here. There's just a tiny little 1/16 of an inch border around each one of these. This one would go here. See, it's off. So Lordy knows where it goes because I've messed it up. That one does go up there. This one does go down here, but it goes partway on that other one. So we're just going to pretend that I've glued these all into the right space. See, that would be like, what did I do here? Goes on. This is the bottom one. Okay. Now, such is life. When you mess it up good, don't you?
It happens to us all, honey.
Okay, so that's how it would have been glued had I done it the right way. So since I have 2 samples, you readily see that that's how it would get assembled on there. And then your small piece is going to get the happy birthday that I used from Paradise Palms. And I stamped it in Mossy Meadow. But you could also use soft succulent. And watch this one, it likes to have a halo. So, and I used Mossy Meadow because it's a little bit darker than the soft succulent and shows up a little bit better. And of course that would get fastened right here. Equal spacing top and bottom. And then when you have your colored piece colored, it goes on the front like so. And then in your kit, you will have 3 of these, forget the name of these, fancy iridescent gems, I think is what they're called. But they're petal pink color. And you have 3 of them, 1 large and 2 small, and you can just place those anywhere. Usually they say to work in groups of 3 because it's more pleasing to the eye. So I put 1 on the label, 1 here and 1 here. The label is stamped with the "You Are Wonderful in Every Way" from the Happiness Abounds stamp set. So that's not rocket science. You would just stamp that on that label, layer the two, and then I popped it up. So you can see on this one, when you put the label on here, it'll be a little bit, the spacing would be a little bit better. You can put it down here. You can cover the leaves if you like, but it won't cover up the majority of the flower. You could even put it down here if you could put your label anywhere you like, anywhere you think it's gonna look good. But that is card number one. Card number two is going to take us into autumn. No. It is coming up on September, isn't it?
No.
So we're going to use the Rustic Harvest Sweets, but we're not going to use the DSP. I opted out of that DSP, and instead we're going to use the Gingham Cottage. All righty, here's the card. You can use something other than hello. The stamp set comes with You Are Such a Blessing. Could put this banner on there, wishing you the loveliest day. You could use all kinds of things. This is how this would look optionally with You Are Such a Blessing. Rustic pumpkin dies. And I also used, to make this label, I used the Stylish Shapes dies. They're kind of the replacement for the Stitched Shapes labels dies that we went retired.
Oh, I love those.
You have circles, squares, and these banners. And I use this one here for the front. If you have something bigger that you want to write on there, you can use this bigger banner, but note that it will go, you know, it's pretty big. It'll go off the edge. But that would fit this loveliest day in here. If you inked up only the words instead of the banner portion, you could stamp that inside of here. So that's what I did on this one. So we're going to make another, and I'm going to use this other blessings thing that I did. I have to get the kit out here. You'll have your card base, which is your standard card base, but the front of it is scored at 2 1/8 and then folded back. Okay. And then I stamped on the inside, I stamped You Are Missed. So that's what I'm going to do on the inside, if I can find it. Yes, and I stamped that in Cajun Craze. So the colors of the paper here are Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry, and Basic White. So when you stamp this, it's going to be behind this big label here. So you still can stamp right in the center. Missed. See. Go. It's mounted on a crushed curry background.
Once in a while, yeah.
And then this gets mounted to the inside of the card. Tiny little border. This lady that I get the designs from, she likes these tiny little borders more, so that's why you get those. And the front is using this piece of the Gingham Cottage paper. It is actually so saffron and crushed curry. It matches up on the crushed curry just very nicely. So we are going to place that on the crushed curry. Equal border all the way around. Put the crushed curry on the front of the card. Now we're going to work on our card front. This is the base. I'm going to have a layer of crushed curry on top. You can cut these to whatever border you like. If you don't like the little borders, you feel like cutting them down, feel free. There's nothing. It will still work out nicely on the card. All right, and then I've given you a piece like this that has been embossed with the checks and dots embossing folder. And this fits through the mini. See how narrow it is, but it's two separate folders. One makes these squares, the other folder makes the dots. So you get to put that on there, and because it's embossed, I like to use Tombow so it gets in all the nooks and crannies. So, and then this is going to get mounted in the center, but you only put glue on one side. Looks pretty good. So our pieces here. You will have a stencil so that you can put it in your Stamparatus, Misty, or whatever you use. This one here is going to be used for the leaves. So I'm going to put a leaf in there. I'm going to find my Cajun Craze ink because we're going to make one leaf out of Cajun Craze and one leaf out of Mossy Meadow. So we're going to move that up, flip it over. If you line your stamps up with your stencil, then you can do this. So you wouldn't need to worry about having them come to you unstamped. Out. And then we're going to clean that off and put Mossy Meadow one in there. I see I have my stencil lined up a little bit off. So not terrible, but it is a little bit off. And the way you would line them up is that you would take your stencil and lay it over your piece like this. See that? Yeah, laying it over there like that. And then I would put a couple little glue dots here. And then close it, and it would fall on this in the right place. Of course, this was laid out for this one, not for that one. So there's another leaf in this kit somewhere. Should be. It's still in the envelope. On the floor. Yep, it's on the floor. Let's see if I can reach it with my take your pick tool. Oh, that works so well. Okay, so this time we're going to do it in Mossy Meadow. If you have trouble with this staying in properly in place, you can put a little bit of a removable tape behind there, or you can use Post-it note tape rolled. What am I looking for? Mossy Meadow. There we go. The leaves done. And oh, that fell over here, all on its own. And I'm going to flip this over so that I can stamp the pumpkin and the sunflowers. Clean my stamp off here first. So this is the Hello Harvest stamp set. All right, so now I'm going to take and put the flowers, the sunflowers, and the pumpkin. Fell on the floor too. So if you were doing a bunch of these cards, this is the way you would want to do it. So you wouldn't have to worry about positioning the stamp in the same place every time. I was going through some stuff and I found 2 old school Stampin' jigs. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
It's another stamp placing tool, but it kind of went by the wayside when this particular thing came out, because this is just wonderful. But if you have wood stamps that you like to use, this was the best thing for positioning wood stamps on your paper and getting them straight. I pick them out every now and then, but I haven't seen them for quite some time. Okay, so then we have our pumpkin and our flowers. Come on out of there. Take your pick tool, poke it out of there. There we go. All right, and then we color those up. And you color those with Cake and Praise. You have to build the light. And Mossy Meadow. And it's just coloring, folks. I don't think I'm going to go to all the trouble and color that for you, unless you really want me to.
Pretty fall colors, though.
I'm going to glue these 2 leaves kind of on top of each other. I'm going to try to anyway, if the glue cooperates. No. Come on, Tombo. You're supposed to be my friend. There we go. Tiny bit of Tombo. Glue these two. I think I will do it this way. Together. And then I will glue that to the back of the banner. So when you would color up your pumpkins, just like this is around the outside of each section with dark Cajun craze, colored on the top. Not Cajun craze. Yes, Cajun craze. And then the light in the middle. I used Cajun craze for the centers of the flowers and some of these little, I don't know what kind of things. They look like little tiny little pom-pom flowers. And then the light and dark daffodil delight for the sunflowers and mossy meadow for the leaves. So the thing is, you need to put these two together. You would glue these together, not glue these together, but you would glue the, I'm going to lay this out first. Glue the pumpkin down flat. In fact, you don't even need to color his stem. You could just color the rest of it because, you know, that would be wasted ink up there. It's going to get covered up. And then you would pop this up on top. It would be popped up. And then you would pop up your banner below. Now this one is going to say, "You're such a blessing," and then "You are missed." I don't know if those two go together, but they're not bad. But I haven't glued this down, so I could make this into something else. But anyway, that's the finished, the finished card there. I was trying to think a little bit more masculine in my mind. And I came across Apple Harvest and thought it would be a little nicer than maybe just having, you know, flowers all over the place. You could have apples all over the place. So this is what I came up with. And this is the same kind of card. Do you remember the Butterfly Brilliance card that we did with the folded corner and the butterflies that kind of stuck up? Probably recognize it when I show you this card. But here's what I made for the guys. Wishing you everything wonderful because you totally deserve it. It uses this stamp and this stamp. I made this Granny Apple Green. You don't need to make a Granny Apple Green. I probably would have showed up better in red as well. And
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there full-size apples and blossoms on the tree at the same time?
Are there full-size what?
Apples.
Yes.
And apple blossoms on the tree at the same time?
Probably not.
Yeah.
So maybe these are little green apples.
Yeah, but they look like it looks like a full apple. And when I looked at that, I thought,
yeah, maybe
I don't think they're blossoms when the apples are big.
Yeah, size-wise, they're not too much smaller than the other one, are they?
Artistic license, I think.
Go figure. Well, this one doesn't have them. All righty. So we'll try my best to get a set of these going here. All right. Going to have a card base, which is already folded and scored for you. This particular one, we are using the corner cutoff as being on the right top. So this would be the front piece. This is the inside piece. This is the top piece. The inside piece would go here. And you have two pieces of diamond shaped piece that we probably need to trim, but I'll look. And you have a template. Okay, so if you want to make more, there's your template. So this one would go here, and yes, I am going to have to cut some off of that. I forgot to trim that. And this one would go. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to have to take off 3/8 of an inch or so. And I will just put them together like so and take that off with my cutter. There. These pieces should fit. I'll trim yours before I send them out to you. And you can change these up if you want. This one, when I cut it, because the design was not perpendicular to the sides of the triangle, it looks like it's cut crooked. But if you'd rather have this design down here and have something different than that up there, you could. But I kind of opted for this. All right. So I'm going to take our inside piece here and stamp it with "Because You Deserve Everything." Because you totally deserve it. Sorry. And it is stamped over to the right a little bit. Right. So for getting this glued in. Got a regular size border around this. So I'm going to get it centered in the space. And of course, over too far. It's a little bit harder to decide what's the right place with this because of the angle of the cuts. So then we're going to put this one. You could use this totally this, which is a $30 paper pack, but it has 48 sheets. 48 sheets of designer paper. You could totally use a different color if you wanted to. Must be running out. what happened? Oh, I know what happened. There we go. Our front piece. This is actually the easy part. The hard part was getting it cut, but that's why I gave you a template, so that if you choose to make some more, you can. You can also make this so that it opens the other way, but you know, you'd have to change up your paper likewise. All righty, so that's that much of it. And then you're going to have, again, a template or two. Oh. Come out, come out, come out. So there's 3 pieces here. You have the big, apple cluster on the front. You have the sentiment, and then it has matching die cut. This is from Charming Sentiments. Charming Sentiments, and I used this one here, Wishing You Everything Wonderful. And then it has a matching die set that cuts out each one of those sentiments. So I use this one here. That's the one that matches that. And then the Apple Blossoms dies, which I have already cut out for you. And the Apple Blossom dies are not out yet. So if you want them, hang on till September 1st, where that partner program, the Perfect Partners promotion comes out, and you can get those come on, the words are failing me. You can get those Apple Harvest dies that they're called rustic apple dies that coordinate with this particular stamp set. They're not in the catalog right now, but they will be coming out September 1st. So I want to show you how I set the stamps up in here. You do not need the foam mat because the stamps are, they must be already mounted on something. I just have to find out where they are because they're not in here. Oh, there they are. They're on blocks, but there is no way that I'm going to be able to line them up perfectly. So I'm going to do it the easy way. This goes this way. All right, so when I get this stencil on here, I'm going to take a piece of sticky stuff and try to hold it together. Oh, it's not going to hold. Well, I'm just going to hold it with my fingers then. And I'm going to turn it over and place it in the corner of the paper. All right. That's the hard part of getting it lined up, is to put the paper in the proper place. All right, so then you're going to pick it up with the lid, and then you will put your wonderful cluster piece in there. And if you get both the die set and the stamps, the easiest way to do it is stamp it on paper, and then just cut it out with your dies. If you don't get the dies, then you can stamp these pieces that I'm sending you. Like so. And of course it's off. So this is not the easiest way to do things. Like I say, the easiest way would be to, it's a little off. So I would go around and cut that to save it, but I would not be pleased with that as it is right now. So the best, if you really like the card and the group, then I would definitely go for buying the stamp set. If I can get this one a little. Fitting. This one off right now. It's a cleaning. Self-stick tape down under this one. Let's see if I can do a better shot on this one. Good. That did pretty good. Still a little bit off there. And the words. Where did I put the words? Yep. Now the words are on a photopolymer. So actually to stamp that, you just stamp over the top of this. Because you can see through the photopolymer. Now, some people don't have very good success with this. So, like I say, if you buy the stamp sets and stuff, just stamp them and then cut them later. Let's see. How we looking? I think I did it. There. Yay! And then you'll also have in your kit a red label from the the new Stylish Labels guys. And I just glued this right to the center of here. All right. So after coloring everything in, I took this one I did in Granny Apple Green, and I would have stamped that again on here. Granny Apple Green for the apple, I took an ivory and kind of blended it to make it look sort of a little bit off-white on the apple portion, so it wasn't just like stark white. I used petal pink for the apple blossoms, and soft succulent with Granny Apple Green going down the veins for the leaves. The apple I colored with a new in color, Sweet Sorbet. I thought it was pretty, so that would have been there. And then this apple feature. Now, when you're putting this on the front of your card, you have to make sure that the top of your feature does not go farther than the top of the card would be. Mm-hmm. So put it on there so that it, so you can still get it in an envelope. You put that on, and then this would be glued together, but I have it popped up on the front of the card, like so. So that's the placement of it there. All right.
The red with the black and white's really cute.
Pardon?
I said the red with the black and white's very cute.
Yeah, and I thought that would be a good guy. I thought you could use it for a guy as well as a lady. And if you, I mean, you know, sometimes I get these things. Guys like other colors too. We just kind of pigeonhole them into that.
And
We do wood grain.
Corrected about that by my youngest nephew.
We do wood grain. We think they don't like flowers and bows, but they actually do, according to him. But you know, but we have to kind of think outside the box sometimes. So that's our card number 3. I really had fun making this. It's a little bit complicated getting all the pieces together. But I think if you follow this template, like this one says top right corner of front. So you will know that you put that on the piece here and just cut it off. Okay. And let's see, we'll put that in there. And now we're on to this aforementioned last card. And if anybody wants to stamp apples or something like that on their kit, or cut them out differently, let me know. I will bring the apples and the apple dies when we meet up. I can do that for you guys if you want to do that. But that's kind of all I would bring would be black ink. And so you would stamp the things and then you would have to color them in at home. Okay? Anyway, so here it is.
Nice.
And it opens like so. And like so. So to close it, you have to tuck it under. Now you'll notice that there's a piece of tape on mine. You can opt to do this or not. This is DSP, and when I did enough folding back and forth that this fold kind of wanted to give way. So I reinforced it before I glued it on there with some just regular cellophane tape. You might want to use the magic tape that won't show up as much, or you can just go without it. And that's what we're going to do here, is go without it. But now this uses the Hues of Happiness paper. And in that paper pack is several sheets where you can cut out the flowers with the matching dies, which are called, what are those dies called? Blossoming Happiness dies. So this is a real quick and easy way to make a card. It's even quicker than paper pumpkin. So I give you a blue, a crushed curry, and gorgeous grape. This is Night of Navy, gorgeous grape, and crushed curry, and 2 sets of leaves. And then these are the dies that cut out all the flowers on those. I think, let me go get that paper for you for just a second so I can show you. It is called Hues of Happiness DSP. Anyway, here is what one of the sheets would look like. And then this had two other colors, or another color on the side. This had the yellow. And there was 2 shades of yellow. Like that. I don't like this. And I cut out the section that was crushed curry. So you see these dies fit on here. If I can get it. Yeah, they do. They do really fit. there it is. There's one little piece that one fits there. So it would cut out all of these big flowers. This one here is the only one that has a little short stem, so that one's easy to find. Those would cut out all of those that are on the paper. This particular rose is cut out with this die. Yeah, this one here. So I wish they would sell just this paper so you could get more of the flowers. This leaf cuts out this particular pattern. Now there is also a stamp for each one of those in the stamp set. So don't rule that out of being able to stamp them yourselves too. And here, this one fits this kind of die. And this one fits this other leaf like this. Now there's a couple other dies on there. These must fit stamp sets. I mean, stamps rather from the stamp set. And then there's these little border creations. This looks like spiral bound notebook that if you tore it out of a notebook, that's what that would look. Not my idea of what would look good on a card. I don't know. And then this one is dotted. I can picture weaving something into that, maybe some baker's twine woven through there. This is some kind of ornate floral lattice that also goes with that. So those are the dies from that set. And that's how I got all the pieces for this card. I just cut them out of this paper. I did not stamp anything except the sentiments on the card. And then the back of this paper, not particularly this sheet, but these sheets is what I used. They have this, so you could change this up and you could make the same card using a different. There's the piece. This is the back side of one of these papers. It was up here. Started with blue. Okay. And then these have a similar thing on the back, but I wouldn't want to cut the flowers. And then, oh yeah. See, here's what the back of one of them. So I just made a square out of that to use for the front of the card. So here's the other side. So you really have to make, none of the dies cut these out. This is just a regular paper. One of the papers in the set. It's just beautiful paper. So if you look at there, isn't that pretty? And then the back, again, this one is just little X's, stars, plus signs. And see one I didn't give you. This one here is the same version in the purples and blues. And I don't think we have one with yellow in that particular design. But, so that's that Hues of Happiness paper. So let's get into this. Here's your card base. This is Night of Navy. That's the standard 5 1/4 by 4. No, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's like your actual size that would fit in a card. This is the back side of one of those papers, and I cut it into a square that measures. This particular paper would fit inside of here, except that it's folded in half. So this original paper is cut to 8 by 5 1/4. And if you do the math, the hypotenuse of this triangle will just fit to measure 5 1/4 across the hypotenuse. Don't ask me how. That's how it worked. Congratulations, I put on the outside. We're going to do the outside and inside sentiment. The congratulations, I believe, is from, yes, it's from Peaceful Moments. All right. And when you stamp this here, you're going to have to remember that there's going to be a piece covering here. So you want that to look in a good place, to wind up in a good place where it's not hitting here. So I am going to stamp that in Night of Navy. Oops. Both of the sentiments are both from Peaceful Moments. The congratulations, and then on the inside it says, wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. But you can change this up into any kind of nice sentiment that you want to. Gee, didn't come out too good. There we go. Have to be careful with that stamp because it likes to play games with me and leave little treasures behind. And then I'm going to open up our card and do the inside sentiment. So, yeah, no, it's Night of Navy, so left it open. The end of the stamping. Rest is all assembly. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is to put our corner on the card, and you can decide which color scheme you would want to show up more. This one is more of a light blue and orchid color. And this is more of the orchid and I think it's like fresh freesia color. So your flowers are this purple, yellow, and blue. So you can see if it looks better that way or this way. And I think just for being different, I'm going to do it this way this time. So you take and open up that square, put it over the edge, and you're only going to glue the. Now I'm going to turn this around because there's an ugly fold on that side that I was trying to hide. All right. So you're going to put it over here, but we're only going to apply glue to the back side here. And you can use whatever you like. You can use Tombow, you can use adhesive tape. I'm going to use Tombow because I want to make sure I place it right. So take that edges of the card and put it right on the fold of that piece. Make sure you don't glue the front down or you won't get your card open. Ask me how I know. And you don't want to use too much Tombow either because it squeezes out along this edge here. You don't want that to happen either. Alrighty, so that's what the front of your card is starting to look like. I'm going to put a set of leaves behind this gorgeous grape colored flower. Put that blue there. A leaf here. Take a look and see how it looks from the other side. And then we're going to glue this down on the front of the card. I'm sorry for that camera going in and out. It bothers me, but I don't know why it does it. I'm going to have to do some more research. I thought I researched it. Find out. Let's close this up and see where we want to put this particular flower right there. These two, the first two, get glued down. Now you can decide if you want to put the blue flower down here and then the yellow on top. I like the yellow on the bottom and the blue on top. So that's the way I'm going to do it. And we're going to see which way this particular flower needs to wind up to. Get some leaves on it here. Put the leaves up this way. Yeah, I think so. All right. Blue there. Leaves here. Like that. That can go on top of that other flower. It's not a big deal. It's just leaves. So when flowers grow, of course, I haven't seen any flowers grow with this much color. And there's some out there though somewhere. Oh, my finger and pop down. Right. And then all you do is put some, decide where you want this to. I think I want it a little this way so that it's not straight up and down so that these leaves still show. So I'm going to put dimensionals on the very back side of this. Or to the, it's going to be on the left side of it. We're going to leave. I use all my edge pieces of my dimensionals. They call that Stampin' Up Gold. That will be a trivia question sometime down the line. What do they call the pieces around the edge of dimensional packages? Stampin' Up Gold. All right, so not too much of that. Just like so.
Nice.
Okay. And then this whole thing gets mounted on its background. You can change the color of that up too if you change up the color of your flowers. You know, if you go for the pinks, you can use a pink colored background or a yellow colored background. But there you are. It couldn't be easier, really.
That's pretty.
And it opens. You're going to have to, you know, stick your finger under there and open it. Feed it back under.
Cute design.
All righty.
Indeed. Very nice.
So that's all I have for you today. So I hope you come back and join me next time.